Scientifically, it's a parasomnia during the transition between REM sleep, where muscles are naturally paralyzed to prevent acting out dreams, and wakefulness. Hallucinations come from dream elements bleeding into reality. It's common, up to 40% lifetime prevalence. More so with stress, irregular sleep, jet lag, or short sleep, like in Japanese college students with intense schedules. Kanashibari blends ancient Buddhist mysticism, yokai lore, and real physiology into one of the creepiest pieces of Japanese folklore. It's a reminder that what science explains as a glitch in sleep cycles was once proof of invisible forces at play. Heavy metal exposures, e.g. excess manganese, copper, or lead, can disrupt circadian rhythms and cause sleep issues, insomnia, REM disorders, in scientific studies, often linked to neurological effects rather than lore. Hypnos, sleep, and his son Morpheus, dreams, aren't directly tied to specific metals, but their symbols, poppies, lethe water, inverted torches, focus on forgetfulness and peaceful slumber. In Japanese sleep paralysis folklore, Kanashibari, it's described as being bound by metal chains, evoking iron-like restraint by spirits. Several metals have intriguing ties to sleep, dreams, nightmares, and related folklore/mythology across cultures. These connections often stem from ancient symbolism, protective beliefs, or associations with gods of sleep and the night. There's also some pseudoscientific/modern lore around metals influencing sleep, like magnetic fields, though scientific evidence for those is weak or debunked. More sleep helps repair muscles and restore energy. Over 9 hours regularly isn't usually necessary, and can sometimes signal underlying issues like poor sleep quality, depression, or recovery from illness. But short-term extra sleep can help if you're catching up on deprivation. This range allows you to complete 4 to 6 full sleep cycles, each 90 minutes, and wake up feeling refreshed rather than groggy. 7 hours or more is the minimum recommended for healthy adults, 18 plus years old. To support optimal health and avoid risks like fatigue, weakened immunity, weight gain, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart issues, and mood problems. Most adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night to feel properly rested, alert, and energized throughout the day, according to major health organizations like the Mayo Clinic, National Sleep Foundation, CDC, NIH/NHLBI, and the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. Interval walking, also called interval walking training or IWT, often referred to as the Japanese walking method, involves alternating periods of fast/brisk walking, higher intensity, like 70% effort where you're breathing harder and can't talk easily, with slow/recovery walking, easier pace for catching your breath. A classic pattern from Japanese studies is 3 minutes fast plus 3 minutes slow, repeated for 30 to 60 minutes, several days a week. Hydrate well before, during, and after. Add electrolytes if you're sweating a lot. Eat a balanced snack/meal with carbs plus protein within an hour post-walk, e.g., banana with peanut butter, yogurt and fruit. Build up gradually if you're ramping up distance. Maybe mix in rest days. Ensure you're getting good sleep overall. Underlying issues like low iron/anemia, thyroid problems, e.g., hypothyroidism, sleep apnea, or other conditions that make exercise recovery harder. Overdoing it relative to your current fitness, leading to overtraining like fatigue. If the sleepiness feels extreme, disproportionate, or comes with other signs, like dizziness, heavy legs, brain fog, not recovering after rest, or it happening even on shorter walks, it could tie into something else worth checking. Other everyday factors that amplify this. Dehydration, even mild fluid loss, makes everything feel heavier and more draining. Poor nutrition or low carbs if you're not eating enough calories, carbs, or protein around your walk. Why? Our energy tanks faster. The discovery of metals began around 9000 BCE with copper, used in tools and ornaments. Gold and silver followed soon after, marking the start of the Copper Age. This evolved into bronze alloys by 3000 BCE. Major religious headquarters include Christianity, Catholic Vatican City; Eastern Orthodox, Istanbul, Turkey; Islam, Sunni Mecca, Saudi Arabia, spiritual center; Judaism, Jerusalem, Israel; Hinduism, no single HQ, key sites like Varanasi, India; Buddhism, Bodh Gaya, India, Enlightenment site; Sikhism, Amritsar, India, Golden Temple. Baha'i Faith, Haifa, Israel. Note: some religions lack a centralized HQ. For more details, specify a faith. The value of life and mortality are profound questions. Philosophically, life could be seen as biological processes, e.g., self-sustaining systems per science, or something deeper like consciousness and purpose. Superiority over suffering might stem from evolutionary instincts to avoid pain, or ethical views prioritizing well-being. In religions, it's often tied to divine plans or karma. Those conflicts often arise from differing interpretations of morals and paperwork, like scriptures or laws. Tolerance and coexistence are possible through mutual respect and focusing on universal ethics over dogma. That imposition often stems from a desire for doctrinal purity, but it overlooks the personal, interpretive nature of faith. Literalists might see deviation as a threat, leading to judgment instead of curiosity. Emphasizing shared values over rigid rules could bridge gaps. Grok. In its most direct sense, dogma is a principle or set of beliefs laid down by an authority as incontrovertibly true. Whether in religion, science, or politics, it functions as a fixed truth that followers are expected to accept without doubt. 1. Religious dogma. In a religious context, dogma represents the core, non-negotiable tenets of a faith. Christianity. It refers to truths revealed by God and officially defined by the Church. Examples include the Trinity, one God in three persons, and the Incarnation, Jesus as both God and man.
If you're restoring an old place and find a stash of these, they're often worth keeping. They're cool historical artifacts, and sometimes one will still open a forgotten lock in the same building. The oldest homes that genuinely used skeleton keys were medieval castles and manors, but the ones where people most often find them hidden today are Victorian and late 19th century houses like the 1892 Keyhole House. Similar finds happen all the time in 1870s, 1920s houses in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia. Houses from the 1700s or earlier, Georgian, colonial, etc., also had skeleton keys, but fewer people are actively restoring them today, so the hidden key stories skew toward 19th/early 20th century buildings. Restorers found 8 antique skeleton keys hidden behind the fireplace mantel. Several date right back to 1892. 7 of them still work on doors in the house. The oldest documented modern discoveries of such hidden keys tend to come from Victorian-era homes, late 1800s. A famous recent example is the Keyhole House, built 1892
dries quickly,
in
easy to
Smiths
use,
Falls,
and then I'm
Ontario,
going to top it up
Canada.
with Panorama
Abandoned
mascara,
Victoria
which
is
I
now
also
being
love
restored
because
and has
it
its own
doesn't
TikTok
smudge
page.
and makes great
Previous
lashes.
owners often left spare sets hidden for safety, convenience, or just because they were no longer needed once the house was modernized. In jars in basements or attics. Tucked behind fireplace mantels. Inside walls. Or on top of door frames.
Also ich wurde ja begleitet von dem Kamerateam und das war bei den unterschiedlichsten Jobs, die ich gemacht habe oder mein Sohn Henry oder meine Tochter Leni. Insofern war das jetzt nicht extra Zeit on top irgendwo, sondern wir haben das gemacht, was wir normalerweise so machen und die Kameras waren einfach dabei. Ja, könnt ihr euch alle jetzt am Sonntag mal reinziehen, wenn ihr Bock habt. Nein, das ist im Moment nicht geplant. Also im Moment gibt es nur 2 Episoden davon und das ist einmal diesen Sonntag und dann nächste Woche Sonntag. Keine Ahnung, ich liebe einfach alles, was blau ist.
Servants or heads of households often used one passkey, early skeleton key, to access multiple rooms. Skeleton keys,
Ja, und
also
von
called bit
den
keys or
Lipgloss
warded keys,
mag ich am
have been around
liebsten,
for millennia.
das
Their origins
ist
trace back to
die
ancient Rome and even earlier in Egypt /
Worth
Babylon
It.
with wooden
Der
precursors.
passt am besten
Their
zu meiner
simplified metal
Lippenfarbe.
keys opened warded
Oma
locks
is
on
the
doors and
best.
chests.
Hallo Oma.
Hi Süße, bin schon 81 Jahre.
Obwohl du aussiehst wie mein Zwilling.
Na, treib's mal wieder. Machst ja gerne. Du musst den Bauch einziehen.
Meine Mom, die sagt genau das, was sie gerade denkt.
Ja, ehrlich, du musst den einziehen.
Kann ich nicht einziehen.
Doch. Hast du auch ein bisschen Make-up auf den Pickel?
Siehst du noch?
Ja. Was hast du denn? Auch die Haare noch nicht gemacht. Bleiben die so glatt?
The real barriers come from China's strict
Ich
foreign
sehe, das
exchange
läuft auf schief an.
managed by
and
the
Off the
State
Catwalk
Administration
bei
of
Heidi
Foreign
Klum.
Exchange,
Die nächsten
SAFE,
beiden
under
Sonntage
the
um
People's Bank of
20:15 Uhr auf
These
ProSieben.
controls are part of China's socialist system with Chinese characteristics, often called communist in casual terms.
Das ist Spirulina. Es gibt ja grün Spirulina und das ist mit blauem Spirulina.
Roman rock crystal icosahedron, die, period. Roman Empire, 2nd to 3rd century AD. Medium, rock crystal, quartz.
Okay, der Text ist:
Louvre Museum.
I used to
Paris,
love you.
INV.
Nobody
MNC
loves you the
882.
way I do. Not my body.
This transparent polyhedron is a roughly 2,000-year-old
Verdrehen
divination
Germany's
die
Next
used
Top
by the
Model
Romans.
heute.
Unlike the bone or ivory dice common in daily life back then, this object is carved from rock crystal, quartz. Roman natural historian Pliny the Elder believed quartz wasn't a geological stone, but rather ice frozen forever in extreme cold that would never melt again, crystallos. Let's examine the surface details. A master craftsman fashioned this hard, eternal ice into an icosahedron, the most complex of the Platonic solids. Each triangular face is engraved with a Latin letter and its corresponding Roman numeral. If we look closely at the photo and diagram, we can see the face with letter A bears
Thailand, was machen wir denn heute?
B has 2.
Heidi, du musst leider heute wieder Models
Towards the end of the
rausschmeißen.
alphabet are features the number 17. We can consider this dual labeling system a security measure designed to prevent misreading the results. So, how did this die rise? Romans didn't use it alone.
Hallo ihr Lieben, heute ist wieder mal ein Drehtag für Germany's Next Top Model und ich starte jetzt einfach mal meine Beauty-Routine und die startet mit Urita Lift
The
Laser.
resulting letter or number would direct you to a list of preset answers in the handbook. The most fascinating part of this system is how strikingly similar Roman questions were to our modern-day concerns. Being king in the wild is mostly a human story. It names a species or individual that holds outsized influence over territory, resources, or social order, and we often map that image onto local ecosystems. The phrase is cultural shorthand, not a literal political system in nature. What being king means in nature: dominance and control of resources. In ecology, a king is an apex species that faces few predators and strongly influences prey populations and territory. This is about functional power, not rulership. Social authority in some species. Certain animals, e.g., lions, show social structures, prides, territory defense, vocal signals, that humans read as royal behavior. The lion's mane, roar, and pride life have been culturally coded as regal. But ecosystems are complex. Many habitats lack a single ruler. Dominance is distributed among predators, parasites, and keystone species. How the wild turned into a kingdom, why we use that language. Anthropomorphism and symbolism. Humans project political categories, king, court, territory, onto animal life because it helps explain power and order. The lion's image as king is a cultural product shaped by history and symbolism and the wild. Most animals don't bury their dead the way humans do, but some species show behaviors that resemble burial or mourning. These actions often serve practical purposes, like hygiene, protection from predators, or social bonding, rather than symbolic ones. Here are a few examples. Elephants. They're known to cover dead herd members with leaves, branches, and dirt. They may linger around the body, touching it gently with their trunks, which suggests emotional awareness. Certain primates, chimpanzees and gorillas, sometimes stay near deceased group members, grooming or guarding the body for hours or days. They don't bury them, but they do show signs of grief. Ants and termites. These insects practice a form of burial for hygiene. Worker ants carry dead colony members to a designated cemetery area or cover them with soil to prevent disease spread. Bees. Honeybees remove dead bees from the hive to maintain cleanliness, a behavior called necrophoresis. Scrub jays and crows. These birds hold what look like funerals. When they find a dead bird, they gather around it, call loudly, and sometimes cover it with leaves or twigs. So while true burial is rare, many animals have evolved behaviors that deal with death in ways that protect their group or reflect social awareness.
Wild Moon Magazine X Scotland. Mystic Valentine Tales. Love, legends, and the supernatural from around the world. Saint Valentine of Rome, Italy. Saints and Angels. The angels wept tears of rose petals when Saint Valentine secretly married young lovers against the emperor's decree. knowing his fate was sealed by love itself. Aboriginal Australian legend. Australia. Indigenous myths. In the Dreamtime, the spirits of departed lovers become the Southern Cross stars, forever dancing above the Australian outback, their love outlasting death. The White Lady of Avenel. Scotland. Ghosts and hauntings. The White Lady of Avenel appears each Valentine's Eve, her ghostly form searching castle corridors for her lost betrothed, killed on their wedding day. Inanna's descent. Ancient Sumer. Ancient myths. Inanna descended through 7 gates of the underworld, shedding her divine garments for love of Dumuzi, teaching mortals that true love demands sacrifice. Habba Khatun's ghost. India. Paranormal romance. In the valleys of Kashmir, the ghost of Habba Khatun still sings her love songs at midnight, her voice carrying across the mountains for her exiled husband. The Damascus Jinn. Syria. Occult tales. The Jinn of the Damascus rose gardens grant wishes to true lovers, but curse those whose hearts are false with eternal wandering. Saint Dwynwen. Wales. Saints and angels. Saint Dwynwen, heartbroken by forbidden love, prayed until an angel froze her beloved in ice. She became patron saint of Welsh lovers forever after. The Rusalka. Russia. Horror legends. The Rusalka rises from Russian rivers each spring, her drowned soul seeking the faithless lover who pushed her beneath the waters on their wedding night. Viking Aurora spirits. Norway. Afterlife tales. Beneath the northern lights, Viking spirits reunite with their shield maidens, their ghostly embraces visible as the aurora dances across the sky. Heer and Ranja. Pakistan. Mystic romance. The possessed lovers of Heer and Ranja wander Punjab's plains as spirits, their devotion so fierce that Sufi saints declared their love a path to God. Solomon and Sheba. Israel. Biblical mysteries. King Solomon commanded demons with his ring, but only the Queen of Sheba's love could command his heart, a mystery even angels could not solve. Ghost brides of Anatolia. Turkey. Ghost stories. The ghost brides of Anatolia appear on full moons, dressed in crimson, searching for the husbands taken from them on their wedding nights by Ottoman wars. Sedna the sea goddess. Greenland. Dark mythology. In Greenland's ice caves, Sedna the sea goddess still reaches up with fingerless hands, her father's betrayal creating all sea creatures from her severed digits. The Huldra folk. Denmark. Fairy tales. The fairy mounds of Denmark open each midsummer eve, releasing the Huldra folk to dance with mortal lovers, though none return unchanged. Layla and Majnun. Iran. Tragic romance. Layla and Majnun's love drove him to madness among the wild beasts of the Arabian desert, where his ghost still howls her name to the stars. Olive Grove souls. Palestine. Land spirits. The souls of Palestinian lovers buried beneath ancient olive trees cause the groves to weep oil each spring, their tears blessing the land with fertility. Eliza Fraser. Australia. Historical hauntings. Eliza Fraser's ghost wanders the Australian coastline, her spectral form forever searching for the husband lost to the sea and the mysteries of the reef. The Loving Banshee. Ireland. Paranormal. The Banshee's wail heralds death, but Irish Shanahy tell of one who loved a mortal man so deeply she warned only of threats to his bloodline. Paris Catacombs. France. Occult romance. In the catacombs beneath Paris, lovers carved their initials into bone, believing the dead would witness their vows and curse any who broke them. The Apsaras. India. Divine beings. The Apsaras descended from Hindu heaven to test mortal love, their divine beauty a blessing to the faithful and a fatal curse to the lustful. Saint Agnes. Europe. Saints and visions. Saint Agnes appears to maidens on her feast eve, revealing in dreams the face of their true love, a practice the church could never quite suppress. The Bunyip's mate. Australia. Water spirits. The Bunyip's mate drowned in Billabong, and her mournful cry echoes through Australian wetlands, luring travelers into the waters at dusk. Baba Yaga's lost love. Russia. Witch legends. Baba Yaga once fell in love with a mortal woodcutter, transforming her chicken-legged hut into a palace. When he fled in fear, she cursed all love to end in madness. Azrael's tears. Middle East. Angels and death. The archangel Azrael, angel of death, sheds a single tear for every soul separated from their beloved, creating the stars that lovers wish upon. Saint Christopher. Greece. Saints and Trials. Saint Christopher carried a child across the river who grew heavier with each step. It was Christ himself, testing if love could bear the weight of the world. The Naken. Norway. Water demons. The Naken plays his fiddle beneath Norwegian waterfalls, his haunting melody calling maidens to drown. One girl sang back, and he loved her until she grew old. Orpheus and Eurydice. Greece. Underworld tales. Orpheus descended into Hades for Eurydice, his lyre charming even death. His backward glance lost her forever, proving love's greatest enemy is doubt. The Churel. India. Vengeful spirits. The Churel appears with backward-facing feet, a woman who died pregnant and scorned. She haunts young men, draining their life force through a poisonous kiss. Angerboda and Loki. Iceland. Apocalyptic love. Angerboda, mother of monsters, loved Loki despite knowing he would bring Ragnarok.
So what team are you guys out here supporting today?
The gods called it madness. She called it prophecy.
We're the good old Canadian boys. We're here supporting Seth
Armenia.
Jarvis and the all Team Canada.
The 40
Canadian
martyrs of
athletes.
Sebast froze to death
Seth,
in an
honestly,
icy lake,
too long.
refusing
We're
to
like
announce their
7
fate.
years old. We've grown
Their
up playing against
spirits
each other,
appear as
living in
swans,
similar areas. So
guarding true
our whole
lovers
lives
from
have been a ride
betrayal.
together.
Super
Queen
outgoing
Shaka,
and extremely loyal to his
Jordan,
friend group. Obviously,
ancient
we've been with him
ghosts.
since he was
In
younger.
the ruins of
and
Petra,
just
the
obviously
ghost of
really
Queen
outgoing and
Shakalat
always
walks
there
the
to support
rose
us.
red
Yeah.
stones.
Okay.
Eternally
The
mourning
furthest
her
that we've
husband
gone was
lost
our
to Roman
30-hour
conquest.
drive to Boston last year.
Pontiana.
This is definitely
Malaysia.
just because it was an 8-hour flight
Demonic
versus a
mothers.
30-hour
The
car ride,
Pontiana
but yeah,
screams through
we'll support
Malaysian
him
jungles.
anywhere he goes.
A woman who died in childbirth. If you can make her laugh before she kills you, she grants one wish. The Fisher King. Britain. Quest mysteries. The Fisher King's wound would not heal until pure love entered his cursed hall. The Grail appeared only when Percival asked, "Whom does the Grail serve?" Kashii the Deathless. Russia. Immortal villains. Kashii the Deathless hid his soul in a needle, inside an egg, inside a duck, inside a hare, inside a chest, on an island. Only true love could find it. The Yukiana. Japan. Snow spirits. The Yukiana appears in snowstorms as a beautiful woman in white. She spares one man, warning, "Speak of this and I'll return." He tells his wife, who is the Yukiana. Saint Valentine's letter. Rome. Historical saints. Saint Valentine wrote the first Valentine from his prison cell before execution, signing it "from your Valentine," a phrase that echoes through eternity. The Pari. Iran. Literary spirits. The Pari of Persian lore are neither angel nor demon but something between, falling in love with poets and driving them to write verses that burn the reader's soul. Port Arthur lovers. Tasmania. Prison hauntings. The Port Arthur ghost lovers reenact their final embrace each anniversary, their chains rattling through the prison ruins under Tasmania's blood moon. Tannhauser. Germany. Forbidden love. Tannhauser spent 1 year in Venus's mountain, experiencing pleasures beyond mortal comprehension. He begged the Pope for forgiveness, who said his staff would bloom first. The Selkie. Ireland. Shapeshifters. The Selkie sheds her seal's skin to dance on the shore. The fisherman who steals it gains a wife, but she gazes at the sea, singing songs of her true home. Anubis's love. Egypt. Death gods. Anubis, god of death, guides souls through the underworld. Egyptian priests say he once loved a mortal woman so deeply, he returned her to life, and was cursed to never love again. The Dullahan. Ireland. Headless riders. The Dullahan rides headless through Irish nights, carrying his own head that never blinks. When he stops at your door, speak no word, only blood can stop his claim. Princess Zebunissa. India. Royal hauntings. In Delhi's Red Fort, Princess Zebunissa's ghost writes poetry on the walls, her forbidden romance with a commoner ending in her imprisonment for life. The Naxerer. Germany. Undead lovers. The Naxerer rises from the grave in Saxony, chewing its burial shroud. Only burying it with a coin in its mouth and a stone on its tongue can stop its hunger for family members. La Llorona. Mexico. Weeping ghosts. La Llorona drowns children along Mexican rivers, forever weeping for her own babies she murdered in jealous rage. Some say she seeks redemption through saving others. The Strigoi. Romania. Vampires. The Romanian Strigoi returns from death to drain life from former lovers, their kiss leaving black marks that spread like poison through the veins. The Buddha Witch. Ethiopia. Shapeshifter witches. In Ethiopian highlands, the Buddha Witch transforms into a hyena at night, targeting those who rejected her affections with a gaze that brings wasting sickness. The Aswang. Philippines. Demonic creatures. The Aswang of Philippines tears open pregnant women to devour the unborn. Driven by jealousy of motherhood she was denied in life. Saint Perpetua. Tunisia. Martyr Saints. Saint Perpetua faced the beasts in the Carthage arena, her final words a love letter to her infant daughter, carried by angels to heaven. The Tikbalang. Philippines. Trickster spirits. The Tikbalang of Manila stands at crossroads with its horse head and human body, leading travelers astray unless they wear their shirt inside out as tribute. Vlad the Impaler. Romania. Dark history. Vlad Tepes impaled thousands, but Romanian legends say his first love was killed by invaders. Her blood-soaked letter drove him to become the Impaler. The Jiangshi. China. Hopping corpses. The Jiangshi hops through Chinese graveyards, arms outstretched, seeking the qi of the living. It cannot cross running water or see its own reflection. Bloody Mary. England. Mirror spirits. Bloody Mary appears in mirrors when summoned thrice, revealing the face of your future spouse, or your death, depending on your worthiness. The Wendigo. Canada. Cannibalism curses. The Wendigo grows with each human it devours, its heart of ice never melting. Algonquian elders warn, those who taste human flesh in desperation become the beast. The Ghul. Iraq. Desert demons. In Baghdad's ruins, the Ghul lurks in abandoned palaces, shape-shifting into beautiful women to lure travelers. Only iron and recitation of holy verses repel them. The Mara. Sweden. Nightmare demons. The Mara sits on Swedish sleepers' chests, bringing nightmares. If you love her in the dream, she becomes human. If you fear her, you suffocate. Saint Cecilia. Rome. Musical saints. Saint Cecilia sang hymns as flames consumed her, the angels joining her chorus. Her executioner's blade struck 3 times, yet she lived 3 days more, converting hundreds. The Leshy. Russia. Forest guardians. The Leshy rules Russian forests, appearing as tree or beast. Lose yourself to him and join his eternal hunt, or offer bread and salt to earn safe passage. Kali Ma. India. Dark goddesses. Kali Ma dances on Shiva's corpse, her tongue dripping blood, wearing a skirt of severed arms. Yet devotees know her as the loving mother who destroys only ego. The Chanchan. Chile. Flying heads. The Mapuche which transforms into a bird called Chanchan, a disembodied head with bat wings, flying through Chilean nights seeking revenge on unfaithful lovers. The Gumiho. South Korea. Fox spirits. In Korean tales, the Gumiho fox spirit lives for 1,000 years, devouring human hearts to become mortal. If she truly loves, she must sacrifice her immortality. The Danse Macabre. Europe. Death dances. The Black Death brought the Danse Macabre to European cities. Skeletal figures leading the living into graves, reminding all that death takes every lover eventually. The Tokalash. South Africa. Invisible demons. The Tokalash haunts South African homes, invisible except to children and witches. It strangles sleeping adults, especially those who betrayed their marriage vows. Medusa. Greece. Cursed beauty. Medusa loved Poseidon in Athena's temple. The goddess cursed her with serpent hair and a gaze that turns men to stone, eternal punishment for passion. The Penanggalan. Malaysia. Detached heads. The Penanggalan of Malaysia detaches her head at night, intestines trailing behind, seeking the blood of pregnant women to sustain her immortal existence. Hel. Iceland. Death goddesses. Hel, Norse goddess of the underworld, is half corpse, half living maiden. She embraces all who die of sickness or old age, whispering, "Love does not end at death." The Abayafo. Ghana. African witches. The Abayafo witch of Ghana leaves her body at night as a ball of light, sucking life from sleeping children. Garlic and mirrors keep her spirit from returning home. El Silban. Venezuela. Whistling ghosts. El Silban whistles through Venezuelan plains, carrying a bag of his father's bones. He killed him over a woman, and now hunts adulterers with his spectral blade. The Bean Nye. Scotland. Washing women. The Bean Nye washes blood-stained clothes in Scottish streams, foretelling death. If you approach quietly and suckle her breast, she grants 3 wishes before you die. Lilith. Israel. First woman. Lilith fled Eden, refusing submission, becoming the mother of demons. She visits men in dreams, stealing seed to birth shadow children in the void. The Succuyant. Trinidad. Fireballs. The Succuyant sheds her skin at night in Trinidad, flying as a fireball to drain blood from sleeping victims. Salt in her hidden skin traps her forever. The Draugr. Iceland. Norse undead. In Icelandic sagas, the Draugr rises with superhuman strength, killing those who wronged him in life. Only beheading and burning the body ends his vengeance. The Kalapalik. Arctic Canada. Ice demons. The Kalapalik drags Inuit children beneath Arctic ice through holes, her long hair flowing like seaweed. She sings lullabies as they drown in her emetic pouch.